Hello and welcome to this Project in a Box video tour. Here we're going to be looking at financial management. So here we are within the software client of the Small Team and Enterprise edition. And we use the method template here to include the content that we require for financial management of the project. If we go in and have a look at this particular example project, and we'll see that there's several ways that this can be accomplished. We can either draw the finance information from a spreadsheet. That can either be a completely standard project in a box formatted finances spreadsheet, and there's one of those included in every method template as standard. We'll have a look at that in a second. That's this one here, project finances. We can also draw that data if we want to from a planner file as well. So if we use planner for our plan, it can be used to assemble the budget cost for the project and to record actuals against that. And both of those methods will allow, from a standard project, from a standard method template, the financial information to be collected and accumulated across multiple projects for reporting purposes. You can also, if you want to, put in your own custom formats for finances, and that's usually done through a spreadsheet, normally standardized per organization and put into their method template, so it's there and set up as part of the reporting, but often bespoke and added on if it needs to be for particular unique project circumstances. So there's a few examples of all that sort of thing here to look at. This is a completely blank project, and we'll be able to see how some of this is set up, and it uses this project summary information form here, which sets up automatically the sources of information required for reporting and dashboards, etc., from the method when it's set up. As I say, one of those will be using the plan arrangement, and here we can see it's set up this source file as the source of task information, and part of that task is the costs associated with those tasks. Also in here in logs we have, if we've got a particular project in a box finances sheet, we can bring that through here. Again, this one's set up from the method template and is pulling through the one we mentioned earlier. And in fact, in the custom spreadsheets area, we can also choose to bring through additional things from spreadsheets. So you'll see here we're also bringing out the images from the finances sheet, and that's allowing us to get the charts that are being generated within there and include those in the reports automatically. And in fact, you can then come in here and add your own custom things. We're also actually bringing from here some attributes from the finances sheet as well, so that they're populated into the properties area on project summary information. So in fact, we can go away and have a quick look at some of that here. So here's my project we've just been looking at, and we can see here it has a plan total cost, and that's the cost figure coming from the plan based on the resources allocated to tasks, the duration of those tasks, the cost per hour of those resources, and any fixed costs that have been set against those tasks. So it's assembling the cost of the project. It can also assemble and populate into properties there information about actual costs that have been incurred as they've been collected as well. We can also, of course, in here put in, like I said, the other properties coming from the financial spreadsheet, and of course that means you can put in anything you want to. Whatever you calculate in your finances sheet can be drawn through and displayed here for each of your projects. So let's go off and have a look at a sort of complete example rather than a new fresh one. So here's our office move project, and we'll see here the total plan cost is a substantially different one. It's something that's come from the plan itself. So let's go in and have a look at that. So if I come in here to look at what we're holding for this plan in the database, and I can see the various tasks that we have here. We have resources allocated against them, and here is our cumulative total cost for the project. We've got the cost for each of the tasks and these rolling up at the various summary groupings to give a total cumulative one at the whole project level here. And actually we store a range of different cost information, and there's a view very helpfully set up to let you get at that. In fact, there are a couple. We've got costs looking at cumulative and costs looking at actual per task. So let's pick up the per task one first. And this view, interestingly, takes away the Gantt chart because we're interested in costs here. We're not really interested in that sort of timeline view of the project. They're the costs that are on each particular task. We've got the fixed costs, the resource costs, therefore the total cost, which is accumulation of the two, as we can see here. We've got the recorded actual cost, where somebody has recorded in against that task what the actual cost so far for that task is. We also then have what we call the progress cost. And the progress cost is worked out on the basis of the total cost and the percentage complete. So if the task is 100% complete, we would have expected to have spent the total cost. So we can see those differences there. And then we have cumulative figures as well. So this is showing both of them here in this analysis. Obviously, when we want to total it up at the sort of project level, it's the cumulative ones we're perhaps more interested in. But we've got all that data, we can get at it really very quickly, and using the view we can set out the columns and the arrangements that we want them, and we can use a filter if we want to perhaps switch off summaries or switch off lower level tasks and just use summaries, etc. To get that display how we particularly need it for any sort of analysis we might want to do. What's this one? A slightly different sort of arrangement. Let's try this one. Okay, so this one's just going by summary, and we've put the Gantt chart back on so we can see broadly the percentage complete sort of display of those as well. So we can get this exactly how we want it, and then of course from here we can use export to grab that as a CSV, or grab the image that we're looking at to put it into a report or another document or a further bit of analysis, etc. So we can get all this cost information from here out exactly how we want it, but it's derived fundamentally from the plan. Great for budgeting projects because you can just put the tasks in, put the people on, put the day rate, put the fixed costs in, and you get the total cost predicted out. Not quite so slick for recording actuals. You've got to go in and put the actuals against each task, but if you've got that information, then you know that works reasonably well. The other way of collecting that information is via a spreadsheet. And so in this example project we've also got our project finances sheet here. We can check that file out. And this is our standard. In fact, we have a couple of different variations on this, but this is the one that's included as standard in most of the method templates. It has an instruction sheet and some lookup figures, and then three main tabs we're interested in, which is one to set the budget. We have setting of income and costs and contingency, and then we confirm those figures down at the bottom. It produces a number of different charts, and this is obviously aimed at commercial projects. The income can of course be dressed up as benefits instead if you want to do benefits against the cost of the project. We do have a version of this which is for purely internal projects, where it sets a budget and looks at costs rather than being income. So it just changes the language a little bit. Then we come into the actuals side, and in actuals we don't change the budget at all. What we're simply changing here is the response to that. So we've got the income as we've received it. We've got the costs as they've been incurred and remaining to complete, and then we've got variations showing against budget, and that's all totaling through obviously and doing some sort of analysis. And if we put contingency drawdown in there, that will also affect into the analysis. We've got our various charts being produced, etc. Now of course, because this is a spreadsheet, you can change it in your templates if you want to make it do the calculations you want, to collect the information you want, to produce the charts that you want. And our standard financial management into reporting and dashboards takes this standard block of data. It's looking for a budget situation, a completion projection, current position, and these particular figures. And so we automate the production of reports and dashboards based on the assumption of this type of block of data. it's grabbed from here and along with any of the other charts that we're interested in. So it's pretty straightforward. Spreadsheets, everyone's comfortable with spreadsheets, and an awful lot of people manage their finances that way currently. Check it out, make some changes to it, check it back in. That data will then be available for reporting and dashboards, etc. So if I want to come and run a project report for this project, I can come and click project report. I can of course run a complete one with everything in it, or I can just come away and get the simple finances only report for this project. And there we go, we've got that block of data that we expected back here. And I say the standard reporting knows to look for that block of data, and it knows how to treat it, how to lay it out, how to handle the numbers. And because that's standardized across all of the projects in this method, we can do exactly the same sort of thing at the portfolio level as well. So let's come and do a portfolio report. Again, we're going to load our finances analysis, and this is going to go away and get that same block of data from each of the projects and then merge that together for us. And it can do that because it knows the sort of data it's getting in that standard block. It knows that the first row is a status figure, and therefore we want to sort of count those. We want to know how many are at each different status. When we get into the financial figures themselves, we want to be totaling or averaging those in the required way, and so the reporting will do that for us as it just zips itself up. So here we've got our 6 projects, we've got counts of the health ratings, it's total up the income, the cost, the contingency, the margins, etc. Done the correct sort of percentage calculation for the percentage margin, cash position, etc. Standardized block of data, entered simply from spreadsheets all the way through into reports at the portfolio level as well. Now of course not everybody wants to use in their reports our standard spreadsheet approach to collecting costs. Many customers have their own, and in fact it's the template that's most commonly personalised because every organisation does their finances a bit of a different way. And so you can put your own spreadsheet in here and bring that data out, and in fact we can see that here as well, because this particular project also has a sort of custom cash flow that's been done for the project, and that's been picked up by the project manager and manually told to be put in reporting. They've put down here that they want to include the cell range for ops cash flow from there, and also as a table, and any images from the finances worksheet from the same spreadsheet, and it will go to the latest version of that, bring that back and put that into the reporting in the custom spreadsheet area. So this time let's go back and do our report at the project level, but we'll do it using a slightly different sort of specification. We'll go for the in fact we'll go for a default one. In fact we'll pick up a standard project team report. So this is bringing in our user specified spreadsheets as well as our finance log. Of course, if we change the view here on plan reports to costs, we could bring all 3 modes through into the same report. So here we can see our standard block from the standard finances log. Here we've got our ops cash flow data, and it's coming from the spreadsheet and it's bringing whatever is in that spreadsheet. So we've got the style of that spreadsheet coming back with its colour schemes and layout of table, etc. We've got the image coming back, which is a chart to go with that, and we've also brought back here the data on the actual costs incurred from the financial spreadsheet. So we've brought back, as well as the summary table, which we brought back as standard, we've chosen to manually bring back the cost area as well, so we can see a listing of all the costs. So that's all brought back together. As I say, if we'd have also changed the view here to be away from a Gantt chart view, to have picked up our standard cost analysis view, we've got our cost data here as well. So we can get that from a number of different sources depending on the way we like to run our finances. That data is, say, here and easily available for working on, easy to get into reports, and exactly the same thing applies into dashboards as well. So if we go away, run our dashboard here, I'll just take a second to populate those, but it's going to give us obviously we're in a finances mode of dashboard here, so it's given us that finances table for the portfolio plus the one for each particular project, and obviously as we jump from project to project it rejigs that to suit. And so having these separate little report elements set up with what you want, and of course you could have put one in here that also include custom spreadsheet elements where they were financial, and perhaps included the view of the plan with a cost perspective. So you can set these up, of course, to suit exactly what it is that you're interested in. Okay, so that was a look through financial management within the multi-user platform, Small Team and Enterprise Edition. Very similar sort of capability with Personal Edition, although the reporting doesn't go quite as far. We don't bring quite as much back from Planner currently, but the same templates apply for spreadsheet reporting approaches. Okay, so hopefully you found that interesting. There's also a further tour on reporting which might be relevant, and also some similar sort of information in the dashboards on the browser application. Thank you.